Hi, everybody, and welcome to the Friday edition of Moohead Radio, TGIF, as NFL cuts are proceeding, and the Cleveland Browns are participants in this. This is your before Labor Day show. There will be no Monday Moohead Radio program because it's Labor Day, and we have company and all that happy horse shit. How is everybody doing out there in Moo Moo Land? Me personally, I've got an hour of time on my hands that I can talk about Northeast Ohio sports. And of course, you know it's going to focus in on the Cleveland Browns because it's getting so damn close to the regular season. But also some Cleveland Indians talk. And I see that Mooshell has actually jumped online and she's late as usual, never arriving on time. But nobody said this was a professional program. I'm going to start out the program by asking the question that is at the top of the page. Well, just how bad are the Cleveland Browns? We've gone through 4 preseason games with nary a victory, nothing resembling a victory, nothing resembling scoring points, nothing resembling stopping the opposition. Just how bad are the Cleveland Browns? The first thing I wanted to say is this headline. Hugh Jackson says, "We expect to win in Philadelphia." I never liked Norman Vincent Peale. I never liked Dr. Robert Schuller. I never liked these people with these what's his name? Wayne Dyer. I don't like these people who have these real, I call them Pollyannas, a bunch of Pollyannas. We expect to win. No, you don't. First, we start with truth, okay? I think if anything, Hugh, and I might as well get to know you, Hugh, on a first-name basis. If we expect to win in Philadelphia, then we are fucking delusional. We are going to try to win. We're going to put our best effort and our best foot forward to win. But expect to win on what basis? What players do we have on the field who have won a goddamn thing? I know he can't come out and say, well, we know we're going to lose, basically, but here's what the thing is. It's scheme, it's young, inexperienced players, and it's about trying to get better. That's what this is about. It's about trying to improve. It isn't about winning initially. Hi, Michelle. How you doing?
Good. How are you?
Good. You've got us right in the beginning of this whole thing. Hugh Jackson says that we expect to win in Philadelphia. Do you expect the Browns to win in Philadelphia?
No.
Go ahead.
No, I don't expect the Browns to win anything this year at all.
Ooh, your audio is terrible.
Uh-oh. Is it?
Yeah, it's like all like you're gargling, which you may have been doing earlier, but I wouldn't want to know about that.
No, unfortunately, none of that for me.
Why don't you exit and re-enter and try it that way? Because sometimes you just get a goofy connection on these things, and I don't want people to be listening to you gargling salt water the entire program. It would be punishing. So obviously, Michelle doesn't believe or isn't expecting the Cleveland Browns to win. I don't think you would find any prognosticator who expects the Cleveland Browns to win in Philadelphia. As a matter of fact, I think you might find more pundits who believe that Cleveland will not win a game this year than expect the Browns to win in week 1. Why don't you expect the Browns to win? Michelle.
They're so terrible. There's no there's no general direction of this team. Like, there's no mission statement or credo or anything. Like, there's nothing that I can get behind here. There's nothing that leads me to believe that this is going to be any different than every other year. It's just another rebuilding year. It's just the same bullshit, different names on the uniforms. That's all.
It's in, and by the way, your audio sounds perfect now. So, it's just some of the vagaries of the internet that, you never quite understand how this thing works exactly. The only one who does is the person who invented it, Al Gore.
Yeah.
Yeah. So Hugh Jackson is probably the only one who, I bet if you talked to the players and you knew them, I mean, not like as a reporter, but if you were a personal friend, none of them expect to win. None of them. No player on the Browns who expects to win in Philadelphia. And I think for Cleveland to win one football game this year, honestly, it's going to require a starting quarterback to go down injured so that like a second or third string guy has to start. And it could be like one of those ugly 10-7 or 9-7 games. You know what I mean? I could see the Browns winning something like that. But you already saw in the fourth preseason game, the Cleveland Browns came out against the Bears' second string defense and couldn't really move the football, couldn't really stop Brian Hoyer and a bunch of second string players. I mean, how can you expect to go into Philadelphia and win that game? I don't understand.
I don't know. I don't know if he actually believes the things that are coming out of his mouth because he's not convincing me. I don't know if he's trying to convince himself, but he's not convincing me.
I mean, you know, there's a difference between we expect to win and we are going to try. And look, I know what people are saying already about Barkevious Mingo. He had 6 tackles in his first appearance with the New England Patriots, including 2 quarterback hits. And people are going to say, well, you see, you know, that's that old Belichick magic. And I wish he'd die of cancer. That's the first thing. Second of all, the fans don't understand that these players who are in their third, fourth, fifth season have gone through 3 fucking head coaches, 3 fucking schemes. They play 3 different fucking positions. Look, Barkevious Mingo was drafted to be a specialist pass rusher defensive end. The fact that he couldn't gain and keep weight on, then they wanted to move him to linebacker. He never fucking played as a stand-up linebacker in his life. Why would we believe that he would? Why would we believe he'd come into the NFL and be able to do that? I have no idea. You know, keep it simple, stupid is nothing the Cleveland Browns have ever believed in. So, yeah, you can put Barkevious Mingo on the field with a bunch of second, third string guys, which is what Belichick did, and then he mumbled about it afterwards. But the fact is that he played 56 snaps, and he was allowed to run around the field probably playing a natural position for himself. The Browns, on the other hand, and there are no similarities, none, between dealing with a kumquat as a head coach, like the guys we've had, you know, like Shermer and, you know, I don't even remember them all now. I swear to God, it's just like.
I know. I was thinking about that the other day. And people were asking me, oh, you must know all the quarterbacks and all the head coaches. And I'm like, no, I black them all out. Like, I don't remember any of it. None of it sticks. None of the names are there. I couldn't tell you. Carson, it's all gone.
When you're in whitewater rafting and you fall out of your kayak or your canoe and you're being pushed downstream by this fucking huge current and you manage to survive and some asshole asks you, you remember about a mile and a half upstream, what color were the leaves on that tree? It's like, fuck you! I don't remember what was back there. I don't remember. Honest to God, I remember Shermer because he was a fucking retard. He was a fucking kumquat. I remember pages of coaches' playbooks blowing across the field and the Bengals picking them up and looking at them. I remember Brandon Wheaton getting trapped under a flag. These are the things that I remember.
Oh,
and he wasn't being patriotic either. He's just a dumb fuck.
Mm-hmm.
And so I don't remember all this. All I know is that if it's confusing for me, and I'm pretty sharp tack mentally, if it's confusing for me to remember what's happened in the last, 4 or 5 years, can you imagine the players who have played under these 3 different people with 3 different schemes and 5 different positions? You wonder why they're all happy to leave and don't want to play here? I mean, how do you get good? How do you prove yourself? And, Hugh Jackson would be smart if he just handled the press a little differently, because when he says we expect to win, and then he gets beat up, and it's going to be ugly. It's going to be 34-7 ugly, okay?
I don't even think they're going to score a touchdown. If they do, it won't be an offensive touchdown. It'll be some kind of late in the game. Yeah, late in the game, garbage time touchdown that nobody cares about. Yeah.
It'll never be a game. It'll just be a runaway. But, I mean, I think most people expect that. I think Browns fans expect that. I think he should be honest, and he should just say, you know, what we're doing here, and I know that the fans don't want to hear this, but we're laying a foundation, and the difference between this team and previous teams, I hope, is that we get better from the first third of the season, the second third, you know, that kind of thing, like quarter in, halfway in, 3/4 in, and finally, you know, I hope that we're a better football team in the last 4 games of our season than we are in the first 4 games. Because we're laying a foundation, and I expect to be here as Hugh Jackson, your head coach, for a long time to come. And this is the first year. We're putting the scheme in. We're putting young players to learn. There's going to be some of them who stick. There's going to be some of them who don't. And we don't know who they are ourselves right now. We just know who is working the hardest, and we're going to reward those players with playing time. And we're going to go ahead and see if the Scoberts of the world, or, you know, if the Nassibs of the world, or if the Ogbas of the world, we're going to see if these people, or the Jamar Taylors of the world, if these people take to the scheme. And those who do are the building blocks, the foundation of our team. And then once we see how that scheme takes off, that's how we draft players in the future based on that scheme. And we're going to stay with it. So the people you see playing at these positions this year, those who make it will guaranteed be playing those same positions next year. And they're going to grow, and we're going to build this thing. I mean, there's nothing wrong with that message, because fans know bad when they see it. And this team, is bad.
Yeah.
Now, Bill Livingston, the dean of Cleveland sports writers, said 2-14 was his prediction. All right. And I think that if you talk to every pundit in the country, that nobody is picking the Browns to win more than 3 or 4 football games this year. None. 0. So obviously there is an understanding that the team is not very good. But, that's just one thing that Hugh Jackson says, all right? Here's another thing that Hugh Jackson says. Danny Shelton can write his own script. And it's like, no, I don't think he can. I think he's either gifted enough to play in this league or he's not. And what we find out now, it's like, why isn't Danny Shelton? He only played 8 snaps against the Bears. He hasn't played that many snaps this preseason. Why not? Why is Danny Shelton so invisible? You ready for this?
Sure.
Just directly from the article. Shelton, who shed weight and trying to play with a lower pad level, played only 8 snaps against the Bears and hasn't started the past 2 games. Granted, the Browns opened to the nickel in both of those games, but they touted Shelton as an every down player during the offseason. There's no question we've left him out there for 3 downs, said Jackson. We think he can play 3 downs, and he's working extremely hard. Obviously, this is going to start the season. He's going to kind of get an opportunity to write the script for what it's going to be like for the 2016 season for him. Now, I'm looking for that. There's a little thing, all right? What it basically says, I'm not finding it exactly in the article, is that they've changed what they want from him. That they have introduced new techniques that he is not proficient at. That this is not the Danny Shelton that you saw even last year. It's the Danny Shelton who's learning a whole new system, and not just a defensive system, but there's 3-4 and 4-3 fronts. And he is not playing the same position on the field that he was last year. Again. Another player who's just, we're moving him around. We're moving him around. And, Danny can lose all the weight he wants. But if you hope to learn a new position in a few snaps in a preseason playing at half speed, you wait till Danny's in there week 1 in Philadelphia. The only thing he's going to be, they're going to wonder whether he gets the license plate number that runs his ass over. Yeah. When the Browns went to their 3-4 base against the Bears, and they're open to a 4-3 base as well this season, Shelton was the starting nose tackle as usual. But much of the time, he comes off the field on third down. Against the Falcons, he couldn't do much against Alex Mack. Well, we understand why not. Alex Mack's an all-pro guy that we didn't want to really hold on to anymore. All right. In fact, you wonder why Jamie Meter actually looks better than Danny Shelton? That's a scary thing. When your first-round pick doesn't look as good as an undrafted guy out of Ashland College, that's a little scary. Of course, Jamie Meter is going to have a heart attack in about 10 years, and he's so loaded with God knows what. Do you see that guy?
Mm-mm.
Oh, my God. He looks like the fucking white Michelin Man.
Really?
Oh, my God. He's a cross between the Michelin Man and the Stay Puft guy. I mean, he wants to pump you up. I mean, this guy.
Fat?
No, he just looks like a human appliance. It doesn't look natural to me. I mean, seriously, he should have wheels. I mean, I don't know. He is so broad across. He looks like a human rectangle. If you look up a picture, Meder, Jamie Meter, and just look at him, he doesn't look like a natural person to me. There's something like otherworldly about the way he looks. I mean,
he doesn't look weird
but
to me
I guarantee.
at all.
He doesn't look weird. You've never seen him in uniform.
I'm looking at
the people in the chat room have to agree with me on this. For God's sakes.
He doesn't look weird at all. You're so goofy.
No, I mean, Meter is rather big.
Yeah,
that is what people in the chat room.
Yeah, he's big, but I mean,
to move him in the locker room. This is really, But it's
not that big.
Well, he's
big, but he's not like weird looking or anything like that.
Well, you're not looking at him in uniform. You should see him during the game.
I am looking at him in uniform.
Wait till they show him on the game. Wait, you see him, not this Sunday, but following Sunday, and you'll see him on the field. You go, yeah, he's going to die real soon. But he's stronger. He's got to be physically stronger than Danny Shelton. That's what is obvious to me.
I saw a picture of him doing some weightlifting on a bench without a shirt on. He didn't look too shabby.
I'm not saying he looks shabby. I'm saying he doesn't look natural. But here's the next thing. How bad are the Browns? Justin Gilbert not guaranteed a roster spot by Hugh Jackson. Good. Well, Pierre Desir's already gone.
Yes.
Wait a minute. The good news is that Taco Bell picked him up, so he's on it. The worst thing is they could teach him how to make the taco, but not how to cover it.
Oh, my gosh.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you. I'll be here all fucking week. Oh, my God. And I didn't even plan that joke. That just sprung into my mind because what do you do when you work at Taco Bell? Well, you poison people for one. You feed them rat for two. Well, Justin Gilbert's not guaranteed a Browns roster spot. Why would he be? He's got a concussion, and he doesn't know what in the fuck he's doing out there. But I think he's going to make the roster. Because all you had to do is now, I tell you who's not is Darius Jennings. He's going to be gone. We don't have anybody who can return a kick. And I'd like to see him try. Let him get his hands to the ball and see if he can do something with his hands on the ball, because God only knows that with his feet and with his body, it's not so good. Maybe if he can have the ball in his hands, he can. do something. We need, and I don't want, if Taylor Gabriel beats out Andrew Hawkins for the slot receiver position, I don't want him returning punts because he's a concussion magnet. He's a little guy, and I just don't want to see him out there returning punts. Let Gilbert return the punts, just be done with it. He's the only one that I see, so I see him staying, and that's not good. I'm telling you how bad the Browns are, that Justin Gilbert will make the roster. That's how bad they are. There's plenty more. Was there any good news? Did you watch the game? You couldn't watch the game because
I couldn't see it at all. No, and
yeah.
No, yeah.
Neither could anyone who saw it. So it was horrible, horrible as you could imagine it could be. The only bright light that shined in the whole thing is that Carl Nassib made a couple plays. Agba made a play. I mean, we're down to the point where we're just grasping at straws. You know what success is considered for the Browns?
Not losing too badly or somebody not getting injured in a game.
No, they ran a screen pass. Do you know that was actually publicized as a big plus for the Browns?
I know. Last game when I was watching on TV, they converted on a third down. I was like, hey, yay, we got a first down. Like, this never happens. It was really sad that I got excited about a first down in preseason because they don't get...
I'll read this. I'll read this to you, okay? This is what the article says. If you're scoring at home, the Browns finally ran a successful screenplay with 4:35 left in the first quarter. That's a plus.
That's sad.
A quick pass to Isaiah Crowell inside the red zone for a first down with 2:05 left in the first quarter that moved the ball inside the 5-yard line. That was a plus. It was a fucking 7-yard pass. Here's the weekly reminder.
It's like one goddamn hit, a fucking 7-yard pass. That's all they got.
I don't get it. I mean, here's my weekly reminder that Taylor Gabriel's still playing well. He returned a punt 37 yards in the third quarter.
Ooh. Yeah. Against what, fourth string?
Yeah. I mean, it's these are the good things that the press is trying to point out. But then, with Andy Lee gone, Michael Pilardi kicked a 14-yard punt, and Casey Redfern responded with a 26-yarder on the next attempt. That's the punter's battle, the 14-yard punter versus the 26-yard punter.
Wow, that's some exciting stuff.
I know. It's, as Donald Trump would say, sad or horrific. Horrific. Have you noticed that he's like Echo Man?
I haven't really listened to
Donald Trump. Here's Donald Trump. The truth of the matter is that black people live in extreme poverty. Extreme poverty. And their education, their schools are below standards. Below standards. Horrific. Horrific. I mean, it's like, Jesus Christ. Living with this man would be the most horrible thing in the world,
Well,
the steak
we'll find out.
overcooked. Overcooked. Shut the fuck up. Now Hillary can't remember what she was briefed on because of her concussion, but her health isn't an issue.
Yeah, right.
You
couldn't even step into a vehicle without a step stool.
You know what's really funny?
Huh?
I turn on CNN, and within 5 minutes, you know what I say? Mommy! Mommy!
I don't even I can't watch the news. It gives me anxiety. I can't watch anything.
It's
I can't deal with it. Like I get enough anxiety of my own. I don't need everybody else's.
Yeah, well, I'm looking.
And it's all paid for bullshit, so they tell you what they're paid to tell you, what they're allowed to tell you.
Oh, the spin,
It's true. It's true.
All right, here's another article for you. Defensive lineman Xavier Cooper laughed when asked if there was something we hadn't seen from the defense yet, if there would be something new when the Browns go to Philadelphia to take on the Eagles. Of course, he said, I can't tell you everything. That's how the game goes. Preseason, we want to try certain things, but I'm sure Hugh Jackson and Ray Horton will have something dialed up for Philly. Oh, they'll have something dialed up, all right. They just, you know what that's like? It's like saying, well, I've got my strategy for my chess match, but the problem is I don't have rooks, bishops, or queens. All I have are pawns, and my opponent has a full board. I mean, up for a team that is so lacking in talent. Tremont Williams, he knows.
Maybe he laughed out of it, the absurdity of the question and then had to cover it up.
Tremont Williams, he'll tell you. He says the clock is ticking on the defense. I'll quote, it's got to be different in 10. No, I'm sorry. It's got to be different in 10 days. Horrific.
What the hell is the matter with you?
Horrific.
Sheesh.
Hillary Clinton's a bigot. Horrific. Horrific. I think we've been doing a lot of good things throughout the preseason, Tremont says. Not consistent enough, but we do hope that we can get it to be consistent.
We're battling. We're
Thank you, Tremont.
Progress.
And here's what Hugh Jackson says. This team had better be ready. We're going to be. We will get ready. I'm not worried about next week. I'm worried about us getting through the weekend and practicing, getting ready for Philadelphia. I'm worried about my wife and children. I'm worried about my livelihood, my sustenance. I'm worried about the fact that we're 0-8, if they'll be looking for another head coach, and I'll just be another ex-African-American NFL coach. That's what I'm worried about.
He does seem awfully optimistic for an organization that doesn't mind chewing them up and spitting them out no matter what position they hold or play.
No. And now Xavier Cooper. Everything good is going to come from positive vibes, he said. This is Pollyanna, okay? We've just got to keep pushing. Last year, sometimes we got down and sometimes we were high. Well, okay. Josh Gordon, I'll second that. We've got to stay high all the time and continue to believe. They can suspend all of us. We all got to stay high all the time. Meanwhile, we got Scooby Wright, the guy with the best name.
Yeah.
Yeah. Scooby Wright, he may not even make the roster because he's still coming off, injuries that have derailed his final college season. He ended up as a 7th-round pick by the Browns. I took my shot with everything I could, Scooby said after the game. I have no regrets. It's what it is at this point. I don't make the final decision. God, my leg and hips hurt. Okay. Scooby.
Scooby, we met Austin Carr. Just kidding.
My knee. Fred, have I ever told you about my knee? Back in the days when I played in the NBA, the state of surgery was bearskins and knives. And they had no anesthesia. They cut into my knee, Fred, and I was wide awake.
When he was in the booth with Matt and Rick the other day, I was just waiting for him to say something about the injuries that happened to ball players.
When he was on the Indians telecast, you mean?
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, yeah. I was expecting him to say, well, Rick and Matt, I really like the fact that it is so warm outside because it makes my knee feel so much better. And it's like, oh, shut up. Shut up with the knee already. By the way, the Browns running game, Isaiah Crowell, 22 times in 4 games he carried the ball. That's what I call really dedicated to the running game. Duke Johnson ran 9 times with it. And if that guy, and he's going to make that, what's his name? the big guy from Azusa Pacific who played for the Bengals last year on their practice squad. That Terrence something or other. He's going to make the team. He's going to make the roster. You watch. He's big and he's slow. He is going to make the team. He fits the profile so perfectly. Oh, my God.
It's like they have formulas, just like the Indians always have to pick up some old, washed-up, used-to-be player to spark nostalgia and make people believe in some kind of non-existent magic again, just like every boy band has to have the big brother type, like it's a formula, and they definitely seem to want garbage. It's sad.
Wait, okay, so now it's halfway through the program. 31 minutes past the hour of 6 o'clock, and it's time for dot the eye. The Ohio State Buckeyes starting out against perennial power Bowling Green.
Wait,
Bowling Green's a fucking party school.
What's even better is that Bowling Green alumni think that they're going to win the game. It's really, really cute.
Oh, people in the chat room want me to do it. Okay. Bub Radio time. Bing bong. 31 minutes past the hour of 6 o'clock. You've got it tuned into Bub Radio. I'm your host, Bub, and this is Bubette, my co-host.
Hey.
All right. There you go. Ohio State is a 4-touchdown favorite. The Bowling Green guys are going to party. That's what they do. It's just nothing else to do at Bowling Green. But anything to do with football? You want to know what's really bad about Bowling Green? Their uniforms look like the minor league team of the Cleveland Browns. It looks like all the unis that the Browns have rejected over the last 20 years. And
it's a different shade. It's more of like a cantaloupe color than our orange. Yeah. Our orange is more of a carrot. Theirs is more of a cantaloupe. Ours is more of like a it's closer to a Clemson and Tennessee orange than it is to anything else.
Oh God, it's just it's like shit and orange.
Yeah. Yeah, don't I hear that all the fucking time from my Yinzer cousin?
God almighty.
Or are you going to wear your shit-colored Browns jersey this year because your team is shit? It's like, oh, I haven't heard that for the last 35 years. You're so original.
Well, what's interesting is, the Tennessee Volunteers, it was almost a really bad day for woo! We're going to lose in Philadelphia. Hi, I'm Jimmy Haslam. Howdy, partner. My Tennessee Volunteers, we almost lost to Appalachian State. Appalachia, that's where them poor people live. Woo! People who have black lung disease and don't eat enough. Woo! Yeah, I mean, the University of Tennessee scraped by. You know what they call them?
Appalachian State once also beat the almighty team up north, too. 9 years ago yesterday, I think it was the anniversary. So
the Poverty Smokers.
Oh, my gosh.
That's the name of their team. Actually,
stop that.
Yeah, they actually sell non-filtered cigarettes at the games.
Stop it.
but Tennessee almost lost them because you see, that would have really ruined Haslam's whole, it's like, holy shit, if this team can't beat Appalachian State, how in the hell are we going to even be within 50 points of the Eagles? Woo! Yeah. Meanwhile, somebody picked Ohio State to win 42-24. If Ohio State gives up 24 points to Bowling Green, are you going to be angry?
No, I don't think they will give up that many, but they'll give up some garbage points probably towards the end, and I don't really care. It doesn't have to be a blowout. There's no rivalry. It's no big deal. They're making a spin. The spin is Urban Meyer returning back and all that crap. So You know,
and South Carolina barely won yesterday, 13-10. Yeah, the Tennessee game overtime to beat Appalachian State, and the only reason they won was when the game went into overtime. The poverty smokers, I mean, the black lung was so entrenched that they were out of breath, and so they could not defend. It was really sad. I mean, when you're starting defensive players all have emphysema and have black lung disease, it's really, I mean, they're coughing up coal. For Christ's sake. It's like they were showing it on the telecast. If you saw the game, you had guys coughing black smoke out of their lungs. It was like, I think this one's close to over. What do you think? What was the name of the guy who used to do the college football games? The guy who was the legendary ABC guy who retired a number of years ago?
A number of years
Jackson?
ago?
Is that his name? Chris Jackson? Was that his name? The guy who spoke like this. Do you remember him?
Yeah.
Keith Jackson. That's it. Keith Jackson. Thank
Jackson,
you.
Yeah.
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 And look at them. They're coughing up coal. Yeah. They're coughing up coal on the sidelines. Yeah.
From the muddy banks of the Olentangy River. Yeah, I know who you're talking about.
Oh, my God. Yeah, and Bowling Green. I mean, like, J.T. Barrett. The Ohio State had better be up by at least 3 touchdowns. The end. Whoa, Nelly. Exactly.
They'll be up by 3 touchdowns before the half.
They better be.
They will be.
They better be. Yeah, I'm saying they better be.
It'll be boring.
They're not,
it's going to be a boring game. But
they're not playing anybody. They're just, it's pretty bad when the other team has little party favors they're blowing, on the other side of the field. I mean, it's just like, this isn't even fair. And by the way, Bowling Green has a completely new coaching staff.
Oh, really?
So, a whole new coaching staff for the shit brown and orange. The only thing they don't have lung disease. They don't have pulmonary trouble. Oh, okay. Bronk wants Peter Alice calling a Browns game. Oh, the Cleveland Browns can't stop a single play that the Eagles are running. Oh. I've watched this for 17 consecutive years, and look at that, another missed tackle. It would be great if Peter Alice did all the Browns games, and that was the only audio you could get. Another quarterback sack, and I don't think Robert Griffin III's going to get up this time. Oh. It would be so self-loathing and pitiable that it would be perfect for the broadcast. It'd be like, and he'd have a partner, it would be some Iron Eagle,
Oh.
And the Browns have it. It's 3rd and a half yard at the goal line. This is for 7 points of the win. Oh, he was stopped short. Oh, couldn't get half a yard. How many years have we been seeing this, Iron? Oh. This is so fucking perfect. Oh, my God. I mean, everything's like, oh, Gordon had his hands on it, tipped it in the air, and look, it went 75 yards in the other direction. I would watch just for that. I really would. I would watch alone for that commentary. And the play-by-play guy would just be trying to describe the play, but damn, Peter Alice would just jump in with, oh, another missed tackle. They've given up 240 yards rushing this game. Oh. You can see the Browns fans with razor blades in their hands reaching for their wrists. God almighty. I've forgotten about Peter Alice. Peter Alice is my favorite guy because he can make anyone's misery 100 times greater. It's remarkable. And in any athletic event, just think of it be this way. Oh, Steph Curry didn't even hit the rim. Oh. Nothing but the backboard. That left a divot in the backboard. Oh. I'd love Golden State fans to hear that shit, you know. If you've been watching the final 4 minutes and 28 seconds and you see that Golden State is still on 89 points. Oh, they haven't scored for a third of the period. Oh, this is such exciting basketball to watch.
Oh, my belly.
All right. Peter Alice is leaving now because it's too depressing.
It's so hilarious yet depressing at the same time, which makes it even more hilarious.
Well, with golf, it's really great just because, you know, it's just like, you know, every ball that's mishit, like, you know, oh, he's buried in a sand trap. This is a difficult shot. And he'll tell you how difficult the goddamn thing is, right? This is not your average shot out of the sand. This is a pot bunker. It's extremely deep. And look, the ball is 3/4 buried. He'd be lucky just to get this out of the sand trap. And here he goes. And it's like the thing goes like 2 feet and plops right back into the sand trap. Oh, he's not soon going to forget that error, is he? You know, and it's like, but you just said it was an impossible shot. There should be like big loudspeakers right by the green. Oh, you know, just I don't know.
Oh,
but
my goodness.
What time is the Ohio State game being televised?
I don't know. The last time I checked, it wasn't announced yet, so I haven't looked in a couple days. I don't know. Let's look it up.
Yeah, I want to know exactly. You know,
it's probably going to be. I don't know.
Because I want to golf. It's been raining all day because we're getting the remnants of the Florida storm up here, and it's going to be nice tomorrow. It's going to be like a high of 82 degrees and sunny. I want to golf tomorrow, and I want to get that out of the way, and then I want to watch the Ohio State game. And if the Ohio State game is earlier, I'll golf later. If it's later, I'll golf earlier.
It's a 9 a.m. time game for me, so it's a
noon
game time for you. So that's
I love that. It's a noona.
I love 9 a.m. football. That means I'll be up at 6 to watch Kirk Herbstreit on game day.
There you go. Well, you know, yeah, very good, Lance. Lance is on top of it. He knows his shit, you know? What are you doing here, Lance? You know your shit. Oh, Lance has succumbed to his primeval urges to show up and watch Moohead Radio. Oh. Yeah. So yeah, at noon. So halftime's 1:30. Okay, they're up by 4 touchdowns. Yeah, I can go golfing at 2. Perfect.
There you go.
That's why. Yeah. Did you read this article? I mean, I am really like amazed. You're seeing that there are like 3 Hispanic leaders who like, you know, I'm for Trump. I am for Trump. You know, it's like 3, you know, 3. Right? It's like, horrific, you people are rapists. Horrific. I am for Trump. Right? There are some things that when people are so one-sided in their thought process, and it's not just Republicans, it's Democrats too. It's like, you know, but Hillary beat your child with a baseball bat and said she didn't remember doing it after her concussion. Oh, I don't care. If it costs this country my child for her to make things better in Washington, it's a fair trade. You know, people who are just brainwashed, right? How can Penn State formally honor Joe Paterno on September 17th?
It's pretty disgusting. It's pretty shameful. It's pretty fucking shameful and embarrassing. And
what more does he have to do?
It's ignorant as fuck, especially considering that recent investigations showed that he knew the whole fucking time.
Absolutely.
And I mean, not that I doubted that all along, but now there's proof of it. So fuck that dude.
Well, you know, they're going to actually, it's not just a little ceremony. They're actually going to, you know, they're going to show a new statue. It's a statue of a little boy's pee-pee.
Oh, stop that.
And that gives new meaning to Happy Valley. Unbelievable. They're going to formally honor this guy. It was all the way back in 2011 that he was fired. It seems like it was just yesterday. You know, I don't see anybody like, hey, let's have a Hitler Day.
Right.
You know? The guy who just walked out of prison for raping the unconscious girl, you know? Is Stanford going to have a day recognizing him? I mean, what? I don't get it. Of course, the spokesperson from Happy Valley declined to comment on the specifics of the commemoration, saying only that more details will be released on the Thursday prior to the game. They want to make this over and done with. And, you know, it's just like this whole Roethlisberger thing. Roethlisberger says, I really have a problem with what Kaepernick did. He fucking raped a woman in a men's room. Fuck. And he has a problem with a protest. You know, it's like, and the Pittsburgh fans, well, you know, I don't really care. I don't care. You know, well, if I lived in southern Pennsylvania, I'd have black lung disease like them guys at Appalachian State. Uh-oh. Yeah, Pittsburgh fans, Ben Roethlisberger can do no wrong.
Yep.
But it was your daughter, Bill. Yeah, it was my daughter, but you know something? If it made him play better on Sunday, I'm all for it. People have there's no ethics anymore. It's like people just, whatever their preconceived thing is, it's like, the Indians are going to go all the way this year. You know, it's like, you try to talk sense to people and say, well, maybe they will. We can hope that they will, but you know, they're not the favorites. They're not. Have you seen the baseball team in the National League called the Cubs? Have you seen them? You see how many games over 500 they are? Do you know how to add up to 27? That's a lot of games over 500, and I think that they're better than we are.
I think you're right.
Or I could do Jim Gaffigan. You like Jim Gaffigan, the comedian?
Take it away with it.
No, he's funny. He would go like, so the Cleveland Indians are the favorite. I don't think they're the favorites. I don't think they're 27 games over 500 like the Cubs are. Yeah. But you try to talk sense to people, it's like they don't want to hear about that shit. You know, it's just like tunnel vision. It was like the Woody Hayes thing. That Clemson kid had it coming to him. It's like, well, he intercepted the goddamn pass. We can't have that.
Yeah, who does he think he is?
Ah, man.
He had it coming. It was the way he was dressed. It was
what's incredible is nobody wants to comment on this. Their coach, James Franklin, he wouldn't talk about it. Their athletic director, Sandy Barber, wouldn't talk about it. Why are they doing it then? If you're ashamed, so ashamed, this is a commemorative thing that you obviously think is important enough to commemorate, and if you're embarrassed to talk about it, you're doing the wrong thing.
Exactly.
God almighty. And you don't have to be Einstein to figure that out. Man. Some incredibly stupid people.
Well, they really are. I mean, Western PA is not that bright.
Not really advanced. That would not be like the tech triangle of America.
Yeah, they're not really quite caught up yet in many aspects of society.
Dwayne Wade finally speaks out about Donald Trump's tweet about Dwayne's dead cousin.
Yeah.
And, you know, and it's funny. Dwayne could have come out and just said, what that Peckerwood say? He could have done that. But no, he said, you know, he kind of, you know, he said it kind of left me cold and all that. But he didn't really, you know, go out and really blast too hard because he has a new message, Dwayne Wade. Do you see what his new message is?
No.
He's not really in Chicago for basketball, he says. Gonna make the Bulls fans just fucking thrilled. He's ready to start the process of making change in the city itself. That's right. Dwayne Wade believes that by putting a round spherical object through a hoop and a net, that he is going to make changes in the problems in the Chicago Police Department, problems in the projects with crime. Dwayne Wade, ladies and gentlemen, is taking on the big issues. And Bulls fans are saying, no. Score 26 a game. Give us 36 minutes a game and get us into the playoffs. We can live with the crime. We can live with the police brutality. We got to make the playoffs.
What is he planning to do? Run for city council? Run for some kind of Congress position? What's he going to do?
I'll read to you what he said. My purpose for being back in the city is bigger than basketball. Basketball is part of it, of course. It's what I do for a living, said Wade. But I think my purpose at the end of the day is to come to Chicago and be a voice that can help bring people together. Pollyanna.
I don't get it. What's he going to do?
He's going to sing that Youngblood song. Come on, people now. Smile on your brother. Everybody get together. Gonna love one another right now.
You know, Ziffle's probably just sing along with you in his little hotel room or whatever he said.
Right now. Right now. Okay.
Jeez.
Ow,
you gotta let me know
my
when you're doing that
are
stuff.
bleeding. I'm sorry. So yeah, it's wonderful. You know, I think there is this thing. You know, one thing I can say about LeBron. LeBron may be self-obsessed, and there's some truth to that. You know, most of his sentences start with me or I. It's like me and I are the main vowels that LeBron was taught in school. But LeBron knows why he's out there, you know? It's for the championships, right? You know, he came back to Cleveland to win a championship in Cleveland, and he knew that. And it's like, that was the most important thing. It wasn't important, you know, finding out who his father was. It's none of that stuff important, you know, or what happened in the last time he was in town or what, you know, not important. What was important was work, goal, championship for a city who hadn't had one in 52 years. So Dwayne Wade wants to make changes, you know. He should have just gone to Utah to the Jazz. He could have focused on basketball because they don't have any problems there. You don't have Mormon on Mormon crime. It would have been easier. Could have dedicated himself to basketball. But now you see, playoffs and Wade gets injured after 3 weeks of the season, he'll say, but I'm making things better in Chicago. Like, thank you. Thank you, sir. May I have another?
I don't get it. What is he going to do to make things better in Chicago? You didn't tell me.
He didn't say anything. I mean, it's all blah, blah, blah. All we hear is Radio Gaga. Right? And then this. Oh, I promised that I was going to talk about something, and I don't want to miss this, damn it. Before I get to the final story of the day, I have to do this one because I promised I would. It was the last thing I said in the last program. The NBA champion Cleveland Cavaliers will win only 52 games next season. That's the prediction from Kevin Pelton, who is ESPN's analytics guy. He ran the numbers and has the Cavs being a worse regular season team than a year ago. Why? And now I ask you, why did Kevin Pelton say that the Cavaliers would win, I guess, 5 fewer games in the win column? Why? It's open to the chat room, too. Why?
Are we guessing? Are we taking guesses?
Yeah, we're taking guesses.
Is it because Delhi's gone?
You win on the first guess. It's the white man's burden.
Wow.
Oh, man.
Is it really?
Delhi. Yeah, seriously. Pelton cites the loss of Matthew Dellavedova being gone by a free agency to Milwaukee. Can you believe that? That's the whole basis for 5 games. Delly. And Delly wasn't even playing at the end of the year.
No, he didn't even play in the playoffs or really in the finals.
He was waving a towel, yelling, "Shrimp on the barbie!" That's what he was doing at the end of the season. 5 games. 5 games.
That's funny.
Yeah, but I promised that I would talk about that because it's like you've got to be, and I don't know how many games the Cavaliers are going to win, and this year proved it. It doesn't happen just in the regular season. It's what happens at a certain time at the end when you hit the postseason and who's playing well. And I always say this, it's like a momentum thing. It was like how the Royals won the World Series. You just kind of knew that they were just to the right place at the right time. And when you looked at the Golden State Warriors, just like, why are they having, Jim Gaffigan, why are they having so much trouble beating these average teams? And that's, it's like, God, why are they going to 7 against this team? Well, and the Cavaliers, meanwhile, were just kind of busting ass and getting through teams pretty quick. And it's like, we're not getting as much mileage. A lot of these wins are like blowouts, and LeBron's only playing like 28, 29 minutes in these games. So, that's what counts. If the Cavaliers win 52 games, I'd say that's low. I'd say for a team like the Cavaliers, I could see them winning anywhere from 57, 58 games. I could see that. Assuming everybody's healthy.
Well, you could go 73-9 and still blow a 3-1 lead in the NBA Finals, and none of it matters.
Yeah. And now I finish the program with the moronic statement of the day. Sometimes athletes just say things that are so incomprehensibly stupid. And the ones who sometimes say the dumbest things would be people who are in sports where brain damage is a real possibility. Here it is. In a recently released clip from the documentary The Hurt Business, a deeper look at MMA, former UFC champion Ronda Rousey, that Ronda Rousey, refers to mixed martial arts as the most responsible form of violence. Get this. I think a lot of people that are ignorant about MMA think that it promotes violence when it really is the most responsible outlet for violence. It's a human instinct to fight. And if you try to suppress it entirely and put everyone in a bubble wrap society, that's when people end up going nuts and shooting up movie theaters. If any of those people that had all of that aggression built up in them had some sort of outlet, I think that we would have a lot more societal health. It's not that violent at all. MMA is not violent. It's an outlet of aggression.
It is because, it's not looked at like an art, like you would just one single martial art at a time. Like the intent to mix them is the intent to hurt. It's not to find some deeper spiritual meaning and do this. When they mix them together, they become brutal. You're damn right there's brain damage there. Look at the Diaz brothers.
And what's really funny about it is Ronda Rousey herself.
She's just looking for excuses now. She's still trying to make excuses for herself.
Well, but the thing that's funny is that in her 13 fights, nobody showed more anger management prior to and during fights. If anybody has a problem with violence and anger in MMA on the women's side, it is definitely Ronda Rousey. Her entire image was built on her and that scowl and being the bad guy, Black Bart kind of character. And
she thought she was the baddest bitch around. Like she would get in people's faces and just think that she was so tough. And it's all gone. It's out the window. Nobody's going to believe that she's tough anymore because she got her ass beat. Nobody buys it anymore. She needs a brand new image. So now she's going to play the victim. Yeah,
I've seen boxing for decades. And for every Muhammad Ali and somebody who made the style of the fight something more than just a fight, the truth is the backbone of boxing and now MMA is financial need. Nobody would choose for their children to go into a ring and take head damage without headgear. Nobody would tell them to spar hundreds of rounds taking head damage and body shots, getting kidney damage. Nobody would choose that life unless they felt it was the only way. And you look at some of the guys who are, in that movie Hands Us Down, the Roberto Duran thing, and Roberto Duran was right out of a gutter from Panama, honest to God. And these guys, when they're really great, don't care how much punishment that they take to get to the end goal. You want to talk about a total disregard. To be a boxer or a mixed martial artist, every time you go in, you can get kicked in the head, you can get your arm, your shoulder joint, things broken. In boxing, you incur brain damage with the contacts you get. Yeah, exactly, like Ricky Hatton, that's right. The history of boxing has so many stories. Meldrick Taylor would be another one who comes to mind. Guys who started out with real promise, but once they get knocked out a few times and they're no longer skilled enough, they continue fighting. And people say, well, it's a limelight. Bullshit. It's economic necessity. What would Ronda Rousey be doing if she wasn't doing this? What is she qualified to do? And the violence is, in many instances, part of the stormy existence that these people live in. You've talked to Riddick Bowe, and Riddick's another guy who incurred all kinds of damage in the ring. But, he grew up in the same neighborhood that Mike Tyson did. You can talk to Mike Tyson about it. It didn't look so bad to go into the ring and suffer brain damage if you grew up in that section of Brooklyn that Riddick Bowe and Mike Tyson grew up in. Because the streets are bombed out, and it's dangerous just being there, just getting through a week there. So, it's like, so if I have to take some head damage, if I make money, that's going to be the way I get out of here. That's the economic necessity. Why are some of the greatest fighters who've ever lived Hispanic? Stop and think about the people who, Salvador Sanchez is the name that comes to mind. Roberto Duran we talked about. Alexis Arguello, who ended up committing suicide because God only knows what kind of brain damage he had. You can just look at the history of the sport. And, the unusual great white hopes are completely eclipsed by the Hispanics and African Americans, who are the people who are in the most economic need, and they're the ones who have lit up the history of boxing. Violence is unfortunately what it is all about. It's where they come from. It's what they do. It's how they make a living. And it's sad. Take care, Lance. Thanks for stopping by. Appreciate it. So yeah, when somebody says that it is a healthy outlet, no, it's just an outlet for people who just have no other way to go. I don't know. What do you think, Michelle?
I think some people just do have it in them that they want to fight or that they want to get it out. You know what I mean? Like I said, the Diaz brothers, they grew up fighting. They grew up fighting to survive, and they just have a lot of pent-up anger and a lot of things. Like, you can listen to any interview with them, and they'll tell you how shitty their lives have been, and that the only thing they know how to do is fight. And when that's inside you, you have to let it out, or something horrible is going to happen. Look at Chris Benoit. Look what he did. I mean,
That's
God
right.
only knows what kind of demons these guys are fighting, and if they can get
And
it out.
what medication, what
Yeah.
drugs they're taking that push them further over the edge. A guy like Benoit, who knows? with the painkillers and everything that he was taking to suppress the pain that he must have been in, you know. One of my favorite moments in boxing, I'll share before we get off the air. My favorite fighter, everyone knows, was Alexis Arguello. And in the later part of his career, he was matched up with a guy from upstate New York named Billy Costello. And Billy Costello was from Catskill, New York, same place that Teddy Atlas, the trainer, is from, Billy Costello. And Billy Costello was, in my mind, a decent fighter. He was in no way in the league of Alexis Arguello, but Arguello was getting older. And Billy Costello had held a title and lost a title. And it was a crossroads fight, what they call a crossroads fight, between two guys who, you know, were getting up a little there in age. And, you know, one was going to come out victorious and move forward in their career, and the other guy was going to maybe fade. And Alexis Arguello had this gentlemanly manner about him, quiet, deadly, but quiet. And he'd never trash talk, never. And in this fight, he came out, and he just was slow. And Billy Costello's winning the first 3 rounds of the fight, and really, Arguello looks like he's turned into a pillar of salt. He's slow. And the announcers are saying, you know, he's slow. And by the 5th round, it was like, geez, if he doesn't come on soon. And in the 5th round, they traded right hands. And Billy Costello's was a looping right hand, and Arguello's was a dead, straight as an arrow right hand that caught Costello on the chin and knocked him senseless into the ropes. Arguello followed up, as he done his whole career, one of the great finishers in the game, and just pummeled Costello until the official was forced to stop the fight. The image, the lasting image of the fight, was Billy Costello holding himself up by the ropes. He was not on the ground when they stopped the fight. He was holding on to the top rope with his hand, with his glove, and his right leg was trembling. You could see his leg literally trembling because he couldn't support his weight. He was just short-circuited. As soon as the referee stopped the fight, Arguello is raised up in the air by his handlers, and in this great moment of joy, this anger comes out of Arguello. I mean, like this cursing anger, and he's screaming and yelling at Costello's people. And it's like, that's not the guy I know. It's like he's angry and he's mad and he's violent. And then after the fight, they're talking. And both the fighters are there, and Arguello's like, oh, Billy, don't retire. And he was back to being the gentleman. But it turned out that before the fight, Costello's people had accused Arguello of wrapping his hands illegally. And Arguello, who had been a professional fighter for 20 fucking years of his life, took such personal affront to somebody accusing him of illegally wrapping his hands to give himself an advantage that he was so angry that the first 3 rounds of the fight, he couldn't even think straight. He was so angry. And when he finally knocked the guy out, he was so over the top angry. And you say to yourself, man, you have to have some of that in you if you're going to beat a man senseless. You got to.
You have to be a little bit crazy to do it.
So
that's crazy. That's a crazy story, but you paint an excellent picture.
It was
I'll have to look it up.
If you watch, just look up Arguello Costello. They only fought once, and you'll hear. And I'm trying to remember the Gil Clancy, who was the trainer back then, the color commentator. Right before, Arguello lands the big right hand, he and Ryan, I forget Ryan's first name, who was the blow-by-blow commentator for CBS. It's like, yeah, but Arguello, has a big right hand, and Costello's got to look out for that right hand. And Ryan, right as Arguello is throwing the right hand, says, yeah, but my question is, does he still have that shot? And then, bam, it lands. I mean, it's one of the great unintentional calls in the history of televised fights. So everybody look that one up, Arguello and Costello, wow. And you will see his odd jubilation after the fight, and I believe that you'll also see the interview after the fight where he becomes his nice gentlemanly self again. And yes, Arguello and Alfredo Escalera, which was Arguello winning the title. There are so many great fights in his career. I could go on talking hours about him. Tim Ryan, thanks, If. That was the blow-by-blow guy for CBS.
You just made Ziffle's day by recognizing him on air. Do you know how much he loves you like a dad?
Oh, well, let's hope. I mean, I'm not going to mention Max Kellerman, though. That's one name that I won't.
Who's that?
Max Kellerman, he's the guy who was doing all the boxing color for HBO, and now he's the new co-host with Stephen A. Smith. He took Skip Bayless's place, and he's like the ubiquitous guy who really knows nothing. I mean, Max Kellerman is knows far less about boxing than I do, far, far less. And he's been for years the voice of boxing on, HBO and all this stuff.
Oh, yeah. See, I don't watch any of that stuff. I can't watch ESPN. It gives me anxiety. Like, it agitates me. I just can't even deal with it.
Well, I'm sorry to hear that.
Except for tomorrow morning when I'm watching College Game Day with Kirk Herbstreit.
I've got some pills for that, so if you ever need me, I can ship them over.
Please do. Send everything.
All right, that's it. You got 11 minutes of bonus Moohead, and my dinner is waiting upstairs. So we'll put this up on the front page as an archive. And go Bucks! And I'm picking a final score from Ohio State. Ohio State 45, Bowling Green 14. We'll give them 14 points.
Okay.
And I hope I'm right.
I'm sure you will be close.
All right. You have a good weekend.
You too. And no show on Monday, correct?
No show on Monday. It is Labor Day. Mr. Powers. Okay.
Paid holiday, right?
Yep. But I'll see you again on Wednesday. I promise.
Bye.
Bye-bye. Thanks, everybody, for tuning into this edition of Moohead Radio. Back again Wednesday with the next installment. Until then, enjoy your weekend. Go Indians. We have a big one against the Marlins tonight. We'll see if we can get that series off and running. And by the way, the Tigers and the Royals are playing, so somebody's got to lose ground. Let's initially cheer for the Royals, get the Tigers off that 4.5 behind to see if we can get 2 out of 3 against the Marlins. That would be nice. And for Detroit to lose 2, that would be kind of nice. We could gain ground on the Tigers. That would be fun. We'll see you again Wednesday. Bye-bye.